Hi guys, I'm going to review the Honda VT400 Shadow American Classic Edition for today. This particular VT400 is a 98 model. Okay, so a quick rundown on the specifications. It has a 398cc V-twin engine, carbureted of course. It has wet sump lubrication system and a 5-speed chain drive transmission. Okay, so that's it. We'll get on the bike and we will talk about it. First impressions, very comfortable riding position, laid back, somewhat like a park bench, not too laid back like a couch. That's a good point about this bike, like pretty much any cruiser actually. So what do I not like at first glance when I look at this from a rider's point of view is, look at this. This is an old-fashioned analog speedometer that also has an odometer right below here, and this odometer has no trip reading. So if you are going to use it to gauge your travel, how long you travel before you have to top up your petrol, this is really difficult to use because there's no trip meter and it has no separate fuel gauge as well. So another thing that is not that great about the VT400 is the what do you call that? The gear shifter. It has a very long travel, as in when I want to shift the gear up or down, I have to move my feet a lot more than I would usually have to with some other bikes, especially sport bikes. You know, sport bikes, whenever you shift up or down, shift, you just need to move your feet a bit. There's not much need to kick up so much. So that is really annoying sometimes because I come from riding standards, you know, where they are quite tight with the space between the upshifts and downshifts. So the other thing is this bike also has a 13-liter tank. The 13-liter tank gives you about 28 kilometers per liter. The engine gives you about 33 horsepower and 35 newton meters of torque. So if that's important numbers to you, you can keep that in mind. So that's pretty average. It's not fast, it's not slow, but the thing is that for its kind of power, it is really heavy. It is not a light cruiser, even though it's only a 400cc. It actually weighs quite a lot for its size. So if you were to use it as city commuting, it's gonna be a bit of issue because, you know, when I am commuting during the morning rush hour, I would like to lane split because there will be endless traffic jams in the morning that I have to get past to reach work. I'm not going to want to sit in the middle of traffic like I am doing right now on a weekend. So with its kind of a heavy weight, it makes it so unwieldy to move in heavy traffic. That's also a thing to keep in mind if you are planning to buy a commuter and not a weekend joyride, because this is exactly what I would use the VT400 for. A weekend cruiser, you know, just moving around the city, not really doing much. I'm not going to lane split. I'm just going to take my own sweet time and, you know, just ride around the city leisurely. So that's what it's good for. Just to let you know, it's also not powerful enough for those long cross-country trips that Americans are familiar with, you know, where they take a cruiser and then they ride from the east to the west and back again. No, I do not think this VT400 is strong enough to be able to do that kind of thing. Sure, it's got a torquey machine, it can go up inclines and it's fast enough on the city streets, but honestly its weight combined with its 400cc engine doesn't really make it the best choice when you are gonna be traveling cross country up and down mountain roads. So nah, I wouldn't use it for that either. So is it a fun bike to ride? Yes, it's sure, it's a fun bike to ride. I really like this bike. It's comfortable, you know, it's relaxing. The power band is geared towards the low end, so you're gonna be like hanging around the first, second gear for a long time, unlike more powerful sport bikes where, you know, you're gonna have to shift up and up and up and up constantly, you know, regulating your gear just to make sure you are in the correct gear. The VT400 has a very forgiving gear range. You can just leave it in second or third gear for the most part, unless you are riding cross country where you start using your fourth and fifth gear. That's when you are hitting the higher ranges of its speed limit. It's not a fast motorcycle either. It's gonna probably get as fast as about 140, 160 kilometers an hour at the most, but I have never tried that because the speed limit all over this country is 90, so I don't really dare to go above that. This bike also really does sound really nice. It's got this very nice bass tone to it. It goes like a and not really like those screaming kinds of Harleys that some would usually modify their Harleys to do that. Nah, it's got a nice stock tone, nice bass, not too loud, not too soft. It's really sweet that I like. I wouldn't modify my VT400 to sound any louder than this because it's good as it is, and you know, you don't really want to annoy people with that kind of sound, you know. So if you are in the market for a rather affordable cruiser, you know, you do not want to spend ridiculous amounts of money on a Harley Davidson, and I assure you, no matter what country you are going to be in, a Harley Davidson is going to be a lot more expensive. This is a Honda, a VT400. It is reliable. Okay, it's reliable. I tell you, Honda is really reliable when it comes to motorcycles, and it's affordable. Okay, this thing is probably gonna be a quarter of the price tag that you probably pay for something like a high-end Harley. So, but the thing is, at the end of the day, you are going to use the Harley and the VT400 for the exact same thing, which is cruising around, you know, basically being relaxed, not doing much. So performance, why would you pay so much for performance when you can have the same pleasure for a fraction of the price? So that is a point to consider, when you are choosing between these and any other cruiser. There are probably a lot of other cheaper cruisers than this VT400 that also does the same thing, and that is also a good choice. But with a low price tag, usually it comes with a lower power band. They are usually slower, not the kind that you would want to bring on a cross-country trip or really anywhere out of the city. So with this VT400, you have a sort of a balance between price and performance. It's fast enough to get you where you want, but it's cheap enough to make it affordable, so that if you need replacing of parts. Okay, so if you need replacing of parts, and probably if, let's say, you do fall, the price of the parts are not going to be that expensive to replace. In America, if you buy Harley Davidson, yes, it may be cheap because Harley Davidsons are made in America. But if you are from somewhere in Asia, or you're going to be in Europe, where you have to import these Harley Davidson parts from America, is going to be a lot more expensive, as opposed to Honda's standardized components that are found everywhere. So this Honda VT400 is an old bike. It's really got nothing much to speak about. It's got no fancy technology that you would often find on new bikes, but it has the basics. Okay, it's got the basics. It's fun. It has two wheels. It has an engine, which is basically every bike. But then well, I can live with that. I would, of course, rather have ABS. This thing doesn't have ABS. In fact, it only has a front disc brake and a rear drum brake. Well, you win some, you lose some. This thing is affordable. I mean, if it had ABS and two disc brakes, then it's going to cost more, of course. But is that needed? No, I think it really isn't needed that much, especially when you're talking about riding in the city. This thing is really, really comfortable on a straight road. Really, really comfortable. Especially when you start leaning back like this on a straight road, where you don't have to get a bit forward and control it left and right. You just lean back. Really, really nice. I like it. So I've been talking for quite a while, like a broken record, and I think I haven't been paying attention to where the hell I've been going, and I'm a bit kind of lost right now. So if you have any thoughts or comments about this bike or whatever, you may leave them in the comments below, and I will catch up with you next time. Right now I'll be trying to find my way back home, because I don't really know the way around like the back of my hand. I sometimes need to check my phone. Okay, I'll see you next time, guys. Bye. I forgot to add that if you do ever buy one of these, and when you get on and get off the bike, do remember to get off on the left side and not on the right side, because I just got off on the right side and I stumbled a bit, and my leg touched the pipe, and this pipe is all hot after a ride. So if you do ride one of these, do remember to get off on the left side and not on the right side. Okay, cheers.